Also, this is JCS. I'm gonna link it in chat before we watch and after we watch, so just so people know where we're watching. Long video, but they're worth watching. They're really good. Wait, hold up. I think Soup's here.
Alright. Did you say you did want water, didn't you?
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, grab me some water real quick. I need to get some stuff over here. That's my card. I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Okay, and I am a detective here at the Charlottesville Police Department.
Okay.
So before I want to talk to you, I want to make sure you do understand your rights, okay? And that way I can explain to you what's going on and all that good stuff. You understand? You understand that? Okay. Today's date is May 3rd, 2010. The current time is, all right, your first name is George?
Yes.
Georg.
I did it. There's no way I didn't do it. No way.
Can't see Schizo in chat.
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything, just told you we're investigating something. Wanted to know.
Investigating
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
It's an interesting concept to think of how you might respond to what would normally be an easy question, especially during a circumstance where it becomes a terrifying dilemma. We ask that you contemplate this question while you put yourself in George's position, but not before you grasp the context of what brought him to this moment. It begins with 22-year-old sports scholar Yeardley Love, a star lacrosse player at the University of Virginia. She is captured in this photograph playing in the second-to-last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized organization that would be founded in her memory. This would be the last photograph taken that day, capturing Yeardley's last embrace with her head coach Julie Myers. Both were unaware this exact moment would soon be on the national front pages. On May 3, 2010, at roughly 2:15 a.m., Yeardley's roommate returned from a night out to their off-campus apartment. Upon entering, she saw that Yeardley's bedroom had been broken into, at which point she rushed inside to find her unresponsive on the mattress. She had blood coming out of her nose and severe bruising across the right side of her face. But the most alarming thing...
Hold up, chat, guys. I guess I'm seeing my emotes. Why was it bugged? I don't see any emotes in chat. My chat was lagging, so I refreshed, and it's bugging. What was
that she wasn't waking up. Her friend called 911, who instantly guided her through the steps of CPR, which was then taken over by paramedics who arrived on the scene 4 minutes later. But their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m. At 2:53 that same morning, criminal investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation.
Fuck, guys, I'm gonna panic. Sorry, I can't do it. I can't not have emotes. It's gonna make me panic.
4 minutes later, but their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m. At 2:53 that same morning, criminal investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation, and by 3:50, confirmed that she had her first person of interest, which was 22-year-old George Yeardley V, Yeardley's ex-boyfriend, and the next several hours were spent gathering information before she knocked at his front door. She found out that George was a fifth-generation heir to a very wealthy American family, whose roots lay in lumber dating back to the 1900s. He was educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys private school in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000. George was the star player of the lacrosse team and became an All-American athlete. This led to a full scholarship at the University of Virginia, where he remained a key player in the starting lineup, and where he would also meet, then spark a romance with fellow lacrosse player Yeardley Love. They dated for almost 2 years.
Yeardley and Love's relationship was an on-again on-again, off-again one, where they cheated on each other throughout and that tempers flared both ways.
What was going on with these two young people? What may have led someone to do what happened? These are just a completely unbelievable set of facts.
Everybody watched the relationship. People were really troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation. 9 days later, she was found dead in her bedroom. And that same morning, George Hughley would hear a knock at his front door. He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves, who was dressed in civilian clothing. She introduced herself as a police officer, but mentioned nothing of the crime. She simply stated that she was conducting an investigation that could benefit from his presence at the sheriff's office. George's response was to lethargically put on his flip-flops, then walk over to the passenger side door of her unmarked police car and let himself in. Somewhat bewildered, Lisa got in and drove them to the police station a few minutes away without talking. It was around then when she noticed bruising on his knuckles and cuts on his forearm, at which point George was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect.
All right. Did you say you did want water, didn't you? I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, I can't tell on that one, 7:52.
My drama papers too.
What's that?
My drama papers too, right now.
All right, your first name is George.
Yes.
Right away, you'll come to notice that George is oblivious to the gravity of his situation, and it would be very safe to assume that he at this moment is unaware that Yeardley has died. He seems to believe that he's in as much trouble as he would be sitting in a principal's office, perhaps for getting in a fight at class or on the lacrosse field, and the sooner he provides a sanitized version of the truth, the sooner he'll get to go home. This, of course, ties in perfectly with the interrogator's opening strategy, which we've labeled warmth for the sake of this video. She will downplay the severity of his situation to a considerable degree, while maintaining a friendly temperament with a sympathetic undertone. She needs the suspect to feel safe and secure for the time being, as the less cautious he is, the more information he's likely to give away. Then as soon as he locks himself into one particular storyline, the pressure can commence, which often leads to a suspect being laden with panic and contradictions.
Before we ask you any questions, you must.
Chat, sorry for pausing, chat, but for those who watch this with us sometimes here, okay, I think this is the first time we've ever seen an intervention where the guy doesn't know that the victim is dead. He actually doesn't know, which is kind of crazy. I guess what's the difference?
Right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say
Other times they know.
against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before questioning and have one present during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. And if
Even
you're
though it's
willing
the
to
killer,
talk to
yeah,
us now,
force
you have the right to stop talking any time.
George has two options here. Option 1 is to remain silent, then allow his father to get him the most expensive attorneys in the country. He would then have years to examine the evidence, evaluate the many options available, and then construct the most self-preserving storyline with world-renowned experts in criminal defense before they present it to a jury. Unfortunately for George, he takes option 2. But before he does, rewatch the flawlessly reassuring manner in which he's given the final piece of the Miranda warning.
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking any time. Got it?
Yep.
Awesome. Just need your signature there that you understand your rights and are willing to talk to us. And the time now is 7:53. All right. Let's kind of start. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions and
Well,
let you
GG's,
explain
yeah.
things a little bit later. Tell me about your day yesterday.
Played golf with our parents. It was a father-son. Good event. I went to dinner with my dad and my two buddies, and then went home, went to the bar for like a little while. Then I went over to talk to Yeardley, and
Who's Yeardley?
Yeardley is my former girlfriend,
Okay.
which this whole thing's about, which I understand, but
George has now initiated the investigative subject matter himself. It's the perfect opening scenario for the interrogator because she's given nothing away, making it more likely for him to reveal details that will contradict the evidence.
when I went over to talk to Yeardley, I was like, Yeardley, and she was like already totally freaked out because of what she did this past, like a few days ago, and we haven't talked since, and I was just gonna go talk to her.
Yardley slept with another lacrosse player from North Carolina the week before, which is what he just referred to.
And she was already like, oh, like freaking out. Like, you know, you can't come in, you can't come in. And I was like, I'm like just trying to talk to you.
The investigation team obviously had no way of knowing this, and George has now confessed to the crime of second-degree trespass. More importantly, however, he's just confessed to initiating the supposed confrontation. He now can't say that he was somehow tricked or misled into that situation. He knowingly stepped into it, and the critical fact he can actually recognize and remember this will be used against him repeatedly in the future.
And, like, she, like, started being, like, getting, like, all, like, you know, like really like defensive. She was already like on the defensive edge, and like I was like, listen, I'm not here to like, I'm just here to talk to you. And she like got all like sat up, like her bed's against the wall, like if it was in this corner, she was like up against the wall, and I was like we were sitting there talking, and like she started being like you know, like getting like all like aggressive after this. And so I was like, all right, like chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
So just to recount what George said over the last 47 seconds, Yeardley was defensive. While being in a defensive state, she backed up against the wall. She then became aggressive. George's response to this supposed aggression was to initiate physical contact.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything, I'm here to talk to you about everything that's ensued in the past week. And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like stop, like she's in the corner, I was sitting on the bed, I was like, stop, like, I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk.
So let's go back half a minute and dissect what actually just happened there.
So I don't want to laugh, but I mean, he's banging his own head on the wall.
Her a little bit.
He will now say the words, and she started being like, then simultaneously mimic a body colliding with the wall. He will then stop himself mid-thought and subtly modify the detail.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen. And she started being like freaking out.
He goes from illustrating Yeardley hitting the wall to, as he states, freaking out.
And
he seems to realize mid-sentence this isn't the best way to explain her injuries, so he changes the detail to buy himself time.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything, I'm here to talk to you.
He carefully shifts the topic from Yeardley to himself, and keeps it there for 8 seconds before attempting to re-explain what occurred in a more self-preserving manner.
And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like.
No jury on the planet will believe that Yeardley was voluntarily slamming her head against the wall with enough force to cause fatal brain damage. All George has done here is give away the fact that he knows Yeardley has sustained some type of head injury, and now lied on record about how it was inflicted.
I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk, and like, it was not at all like a good conversation, because that's like, she was already like freaking out with just even seeing me there.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
What happened next?
Wait.
What happened next, and she just kept hitting her head against the wall while she was sitting on the bed, and I was like, and I grabbed her and I like shook her, I was like, stop.
Wait, no shit? Wait, she literally said not to come in.
Like, we need to, like, and looked at her, I was like, we need to like talk about this, and like, I mean, I was on holding her arms and stuff, but like, I never struck her, I never like hit her like in the face or anything. I was just like, we need to talk, and she was so like, oh, I mean, what's the word? Like, you know, like a fish out of the water, like so, like all this. And I was like, listen, like, I'm not here to like fight with you or like do anything. Like, I'm here to talk to you. And like, and she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave. You have to leave. Like all this stuff. And I was like, all right, like fine, like. But like, I want to talk to you after all this, and like I was like a little bit persistent because of the situation, you know, my former girlfriend who something happened last week, you know, and I was like, all right, like, well, so we were like talking over there, and
Yeah, it's small
I mean,
F sign. I don't know why.
somehow we ended up,
not me.
somehow I was resting her on the floor, and I was just like, stop. I just like, and I was holding her.
I was holding her. I was a little bit persistent. I was wrestling her on the floor. All further evidence that designates George as the aggressor. He's completely shut down his ability to argue any sort of self-defense claim.
And then the conversation, I could tell, was just like, it was not going anywhere, and nothing was happening. And she like went back to bed, and I left, and I went back home.
Okay.
Phase 1 is now complete. The suspect has unknowingly locked himself into a storyline that will put him away for a very long time. The risk of him shutting down or requesting a lawyer is no longer a primary concern. So the interrogator will now increase the pressure. She will confront him on certain elements that she pretended.
You know what? That's not even entirely true. Especially for on this channel, we've seen some girl get away with her saying a storyline, interchanging twice, especially in court, and still got away with it. Still got away with it.
To overlook before.
Insane.
And the ideal scenario is to cause just enough panic so that
Twice.
he backpedals on previous statements and contradicts himself.
All right, so you go over there, knock on the door.
Her front door was open. Her room door was closed. I knocked like a yard. She heard me open the door and went in
All right, went in where?
to her room.
All right,
This
straight to her
KC
bedroom.
crazy ass
Straight to her
girl.
bedroom. Yeah, I mean,
How'd you get through the door?
her door or the front door?
Her door.
Actually, it might have been locked.
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Just
pretty
be
sure.
honest with me.
Yeah,
How'd
no,
you get
yeah,
in
it was actually locked. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I put a hole.
Yeah. You punched a hole through the door.
Pretty sure actually now. Yeah, that I used to have that. Yeah.
All right.
Pretty sure.
Why'd you do that? She didn't
Well,
want to talk to
I
you? What
guess
was she doing?
yeah. Once I was in her room,
Jesus, this guy
she
punched
was
a hole
like
through.
very or like no, I'm not like I don't want to talk to you, like all this stuff. And she was very very on edge, like I don't want to talk, like I don't want to talk, like
Okay.
I was like, listen, like what you pulled last week was outrageous. Like I just want to talk to you.
Why'd you punch the door then?
A very unusual time to interrupt a suspect in such a contentious manner. He was giving away self-incriminating information that could be used to establish a motive. He was doing exactly what the lead investigator wanted. But Detective Ed has now stopped him in his tracks. It's a reckless maneuver at this point in the interrogation, which Detective Reeves is no doubt conveying at this moment through nonverbal communication. She now has to let the suspect respond as to not undermine their position.
Because I want to talk to her.
Detective Reeves will now bring
Fucking
his
Ed,
guard
bro.
back down
Ed,
through a reassuring
really, bro?
tone and gently guide his train of thought back to his grievances with the victim. She pulls this off in 3 questions.
All right, well, continue on. That's fine. Continue on. So you're talking to her and she doesn't want to talk to you?
Not really. I mean, we talked though. But, like there was parts where we were talking, and then like.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I mean, about so many different things.
Okay. Like what?
Like what she did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like went to like Carolina. She went to Carolina and hooked up with someone Sunday when we were still trying to figure out things. And I was over there like to talk. Like I was like, this is outrageous, because I was trying to make everything better, and then like, she was very defensive because she knew like how upset I was, because I've told her like through emails like how upset I was like about what she did. And so I was like, and I sat on the edge of it, I was like, listen, like I want to talk to you, like what you did was bullshit, like that's not like okay. And I was just like and she's like not like she's like
It's like a life simulator.
sort of
Jesus.
pushing everything that she did to the back burner, and like talking about trying to like put
talk.
everything that she did
Like
wasn't important.
talk.
It kept going to the point where she like I was like, listen, like you're like we have to figure like out what's going on. And she was like, I'm not talking to you. And then she like pushed me, like get out of here, like go. And I was like no, and like I was like be like we have to talk, like get like
When you're doing that, what are you holding on her?
On her arms.
On her arms, like maybe up here?
And, like, shoulders, yeah.
Shoulders.
Like, come on, like, you know, and that's when she was, like, wiggle and, like, get away and, like, you know, like, get in the corner, like, really, like, aggressive, like, defensively almost. And then she ended, I think she was back in bed, and I left. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
How did she get back in bed?
We were, like, wrestling, and we stood up, and I tossed her, I pushed her onto the bed. I was like, go to bed, like, I'll talk to you later.
Did you touch her neck area at all? Did you choke her at one point?
I
What?
may have grabbed her a little bit by the neck when we were, like, but I never, like, strangled her.
Okay.
But I mean, during the whole, like, commotion, you know, like, I might have grabbed her neck, but I never was like strangling her.
Okay.
More detail that was unknown to the investigation. The fact that he grabbed her neck can now be used as evidence. It paints a more frightening picture of the incident with relation to the suspect's aggression toward the victim. This was an extremely damaging revelation for George's defense. The discussion moves to the moment he left, and George admits that he took Yeardley's laptop.
Why'd you grab her laptop?
Because I was so pissed that she wouldn't talk to me. I was like, I don't know. I like took it almost as like collateral, I guess. I don't know. It's not reasonable logic, but
Right. Okay.
I don't know.
Did you take anything else besides the laptop?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
All right. So when you left out of there, I mean, you saw that she was bleeding on her nose.
She's now about to ask a question with the same implication for a second time. Notice what occurred the first time.
Did you go back and check on her at any point?
no, I did not.
Okay. Did you try to call rescue or anything to make sure she was all right?
No, I did not.
No. Why?
The face of bewilderment, if there ever was one. It's very strange that he's so taken aback by such a question, especially when you take into account the possible outcome if he had actually called for help.
One medical expert revealed in the courtroom for the very first time that following Yeardley Love's brutal beating, had George Hughley or anyone else called for help, she might have survived.
I didn't think it was like I didn't think that she was like in need of like going to the emergency room. She just got, I mean,
What do you think that?
I don't know. I mean,
Didn't you say when you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were shaking her, her head was hitting the wall?
Well, that was in the beginning. That was initially when I walked in. Like she was like up in the corner, like saying, get out of here, like, you know, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At any time when you were shaking her, did her head bang the wall?
Put yourself in George's position and imagine Yeardley had in fact self-inflicted her injuries. You would perhaps say something along the lines of, absolutely not.
I wasn't hitting her.
Dude, some of you guys are saying like, oh, dude, like, he's so dumb. What a dumbass. Dude, there's nothing dumb about this shit. The guy knew the damage he inflicted. Dude, he knew exactly what was going on. You guys, a lot of people in chat misunderstand that this guy is like just a terrible, just evil, who did something terrible. Like he's not quote unquote dumb for not knowing. He knew very well what the fuck was going on. Like what the fuck?
Against the wall, but like when she's like sitting.
They called it like a brutal beating, bro. Like stop getting trolled by his dumbass story. He's
There
trying to
in the corner,
interviewers.
like, if it were like this, and I'm like, or like, you know, and I was like what the fuck was that about? Like that's such bullshit that you like do that. Like it's such a like bullshit move. Like would like, you know, like everyone like hitting her, like what are you like doing like that? Like
Okay. She has a pretty good knot on her head. That's why I'm asking how you can explain how that would have happened.
I mean, I don't even know when a knot. I mean,
Like on the side of her head, she's been hit pretty good right there. So I'm just trying to figure out, did you hit her with something?
no.
Was that
no,
her head into the wall?
I never touched her or struck her or anything.
Well, you touched her. You had your hands on her.
You know, I said never struck her.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through this one more time, make sure we're on the same page. So you're pretty pissed at her from a week ago for sending you text messages. Do you have those text messages where she says she, as you put it, fucked somebody?
I actually might have those, yeah.
Alright, you got your phone with you?
Yeah.
And let's pull it out and scroll through it. Let's see if we can see those.
The next moment is fascinating because it symbolizes how drastically George's life is about to change. The interrogator will invade his personal space to make sure he's not deleting anything from his phone. Soon after that, she will take the phone out of his hand and place it on the table. Actions that would be completely unacceptable in almost any other circumstance.
We didn't say
They were like, I guess what you call like a ongoing conversation, an ongoing like instant message, and it's gone.
They'll just subpoena that shit anyway, doesn't matter.
well, they don't leave that right in front of her. Alright, let's talk about how you
Entered?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because to put your fist through the door.
no,
she
it's
has
actually
to
my
been
leg, I'm pretty
Is
sure.
your leg?
Because that's why my leg's like this.
Yeah, you're right. That
Kicked
was your
it.
leg.
Yeah.
How'd you get all the bruising on your hand then?
This is all from lacrosse. This is all
That's pretty fresh right there, looks.
This is all from my lacrosse game on Saturday.
On
I mean, I
Saturday.
wear my arm, you can see where my arm pads are.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, and my gloves right here, and that's
Even right there, I thought you wore those padded gloves.
This is
lacrosse.
This is all the difference. This is all from lacrosse.
Okay.
And I got whacked here. I remember 100% got whacked during the game when I was trying to kill the clock.
Mm-hmm. When you had her and you're shaking her, did she scratch you anywhere?
No.
No?
No.
She's a little girl. She's tiny.
Yeah, she did not. No, she didn't. She didn't
She didn't
scratch
try to
me.
hit you or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So you kick in the door.
Yeah,
Go in.
that's how I entered. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I stuck my hand through and unlocked it, and went in there.
Jesus, this guy.
Okay.
Everything else is you.
The detectives leave the room for roughly 3 minutes. When they return, it appears Ed is given the chance to lead with a few of his own questions.
I know we touched about what happened last night, but set it up for me, lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up exactly? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
And she wants me to New York, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet, but I'd like to move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's maybe because there's evidence on the computer, emails that you sent?
No, there's no. I mean, you can read all the emails and
Right.
everything back and forth.
Detective Ed now asks George if he held Yeardley down on the bed. He's trying to subtly set the grounds for an argument of smothering, which isn't a terrible idea, but would be disproven by the autopsy regardless.
No.
Did you fall down on top of her, rest on
We
the
were
ground?
wrestling on the ground for like a
This
little
Ed
bit.
Did you
guy.
wrestle on the bed at all?
No, I never I shook her.
No, I mean just kind of hold her down until she calmed down on the bed.
No, if anything that.
I mean,
if anything that would have been like on the floor. When we were on the floor, when her nose started bleeding, we were like wrestling around, and that's when her nose started bleeding.
Was it pretty noisy when you all were wrestling around?
No, I mean.
Was she screaming? Yelling?
No, she was not screaming. Actually.
I mean, if I'm cracking my head in the wall, I'm going to be saying, "Ow."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she was not screaming.
Yeah.
She should have been. Probably. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
She should have been. Probably.
The
I mean,
fuck?
maybe. I don't know.
Why do you think she should have?
I don't know. I mean, well, she was screaming when I first came into the room. She was like, "No, I'm not talking to you. Get the fuck out of here," all that. But
At any point, before you said you, and this was your words, you said you tossed her on the bed and then you left.
yeah.
All right. At any point before that, did she lose consciousness?
No.
Okay. What happened after you tossed her on the bed? Did she move?
Cam, something telling me with dumb shit in chat. I didn't say that he wasn't dumb. I said earlier what he said wasn't dumb in that when it in regard to her wounds or whatever. Is that the guy knew what he was talking about, and it wasn't being dumb. He knew for a fact he had caused injury, or injury to a certain degree, and his story was just dumb. I'm not getting one guy. It's like most people. It's like a lot of people.
Talk about,
one
say
guy.
something.
You just
I mean, I literally tossed her on the bed and turned around and
Tossed her on the ground or tossed her
on the bed and
Tossed her on the
walked
bed.
out the door.
Okay. So when you tossed her back on the bed, in your mind, she was bleeding, but you said she was bleeding out her nose, and you didn't feel like you needed to call rescue?
No.
After that, after banging her head and
No,
shaking her and blood coming out her nose on the floor?
No. There's nothing about like.
You missed anything that no one asking right now?
There's nothing about like going to get anything or going. You know, I don't know why I took the computer.
George rambles about why there was no reason for taking the laptop for another 20 seconds, during which time Detective Reeves decides that enough information has been attained. Phase 2 is now complete, and the fate of Yeardley is about to be revealed. These moments in interrogations are considered important for the purpose of gauging a suspect's response. It's believed that a sharp and sudden revelation can make it difficult to fabricate emotion. So in theory, this will cause a suspect to provide either a genuine response or a relatively obvious disingenuous response, which often comes in the pretense of shock or remorse.
I mean, I guess that's where my logic was at, but which is...
Well, I have to tell you
I
something.
think I know why you took the computer.
In the midst of what would have been a flawlessly executed moment, Detective Ed jumps back into the laptop mystery. The suspect has essentially confessed to murder. This really wasn't the time for regurgitated conjecture over a petty theft misdemeanor, which Ed was clearly being advised of once again through nonverbal communication.
Why do you think?
You all right?
Go ahead.
No?
Yeah.
She's dead. You killed her, George. You killed her.
She's dead?
I think you knew that already.
No, I did not.
In our opinion, George is being truthful here, and we believe the interrogator feels the same way in this moment.
She's dead? How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her, George.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her.
George appears to be going through a delayed response. It's so foreign a revelation that it's yet to sink in. Once the shock settles, he refuses to accept it, and this denial appears to be a momentary coping mechanism before the reality of the situation truly hits him, which will happen at this time in the footage.
Oh my god. She's dead?
Yes.
She's dead.
Yes.
She's dead.
She's dead.
How? How?
I already told you how. You already told us how as well.
How is she dead?
You just told us.
Oh my god.
You went in there to talk with her, but it got out of control, right, George?
The detectives will now add further pressure to keep him talking. Suspects will often divulge information in these moments in the panicked attempt to save themselves, and in doing so can shut down a more credible storyline they haven't thought up yet.
The alcohol got a hold of you. You kicked in her door. She started to fight with you. You punched her in the head, or you cracked.
She's not dead.
You cracked her head.
Dead.
You
She's
cracked her
not
head in
dead.
the window or in the wall.
Not dead.
She is.
She's not dead.
I ain't BSing you right now. It's serious.
I want to see her. She's
George,
not
look
dead.
at me.
George.
She is dead.
You were not here to dance with us. You're here because she's dead. The alcohol.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
It's
it.
true.
Dude, I didn't. I don't believe that she's dead.
How did you?
I don't believe that she's dead. I don't believe that she's dead.
Did you punch her? Did you hit her?
How? There's no way she's dead. She's not dead. I didn't. I never did anything. I did not.
All right, let's calm down.
I did not like hurt her. Like she's not dead.
Let him calm down.
Just out of protocol, what we gotta do is stand up for me, George. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back for me. Turn around.
Relax. It's all right.
Relax. You'll be alright.
Tell me she's not dead. Tell me she's not dead though, please. Will you tell me she's not dead?
Relax.
Please, will you tell me
You
she's
know what?
not
I wish
dead?
I could tell you that, George. 22-year-old. 22. And her life is done.
She's not. I did not do anything like that. Oh my god. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. There's no way. There's no way she could be dead.
Either the head trauma or asphyxiation.
There was no asphyxiation.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was she doing? What was she doing the last time you saw her?
She was like standing up with me. She was standing up with me. She was standing up with me, looking at me.
Was she standing or you were holding her?
She was standing up, looking at me.
Okay.
She's not dead. I know she's not dead. I know 100,000,000% she's not dead. I did. She cannot be dead.
I know we got out of hand, George.
No, it didn't. And she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave, you have to leave. I was like a little bit persistent. I mean,
Was she screaming?
she should have been. I didn't kill her and leave. I didn't just, oh my God. I didn't kill her. I did not kill her. I did not.
Something that they usually say also right here, but I think they didn't say it, is that also they usually get sad at a certain delay or whatever, because now it kicks in. They're not sad because of what they did or the repercussions. They're sad because the repercussions that's coming towards them. So because the consequences, they now see the consequences coming towards them. Now they're sad about their own results, whatever. That's what kicks in.
I did not. I did not. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. No way. I want a lawyer. I don't believe this.
This is just fucking annoying.
I don't believe this. What? No, there's no way.
Bro, I'm most saying because we watch those all the time. We watch all of these, okay? And they don't repeat certain concepts because they become redundant. I'm just repeating it because some people don't watch them all the time. So I'm just telling you. Stop saying like, oh dude, you're not a pro. Bro, we just know this shit. We know it. Like it's just...
No way. There's no
It's just done.
So should I talk to someone?
Who do you want to talk to?
Anyone. A lawyer.
When will get appointed to you?
Okay, what do I do now? Go to jail?
Yeah.
All right, George. Right now, I know you no longer want to talk to us. That's fine. Just let you know something. We're working on a search warrant right now, and what it is we're going to have to collect some stuff from you, like what's called a buccal swab. Okay.
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone he did.
39 months is why.
I never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating someone.
Investigating. So.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
At the start of this video, you were asked to think of what you would do in this situation. Really try and imagine what would be going through your mind in this moment, as you might just gain a restorative outlook from both knowing the answer while not having to answer this particular question. But there is of course no possible way you will gain anything close to the newfound perspective George has acquired in this moment, which unfortunately for him is no longer of use.
Want me to call your dad?
We call it Mom.
Your mom? Is that who you'd like me to call?
Jesus, this guy.
Can I talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to her?
I don't know about that. What's your mom's name?
Oh my God.
What's her number?
301-96.
Okay.
How?
Did you want me to call your dad? Or just her?
She'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell her everything.
Okay.
How? I don't believe it.
It's kind of strange. It's not strange at all.
Dad, there's no way.
Calm down.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no.
George, go ahead, put your foot down.
Oh my God.
Yep.
These next few moments are a turning point. The leg irons seem to initiate a shift in his constitution, and his denial will completely cease from this point forward. He will continue to ask why and how, but he will no longer reject the severity of what is happening.
Oh my God.
He's balding.
Huh.
Heck of a day, bud.
Fellas, how are you this morning?
Hey, fellas.
I ain't here the rest of my life.
I'm sorry?
So I ain't here the rest of my life.
In this room?
No, in jail.
I don't know.
I'm a bad guy, man.
Never said you were, bud.
Call my mom.
Wait.
I'm sorry?
Call my mom.
No, no.
Bro, is there even still a point in conserving rapport here and trying to be chill with them?
Yeah.
Is there anything at all they can gain out of this from that point on? I don't think so. I think they're way past that. They were like an hour past that. They're like, what? You think he's gonna spurt out?
Didn't even. Oh my God.
George was taken to the regional jail soon after this moment. He would go on to plead not guilty to murder and was held without bond for almost 2 years awaiting trial. It began on February 6, 2012.
Well, testimony is now underway in the murder trial of the former UVA lacrosse player accused of killing his ex-girlfriend.
For the first time, we have video of Yeardley as he was led into the courtroom.
Contrary to his appearance in the days that followed his arrest for the murder of 22-year-old Yeardley Love, he appeared pale, frail, and gaunt.
The prosecution presented a case that Yeardley went to Love's apartment that night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma, which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described as playful text messages with 3 other women. Those messages continued late into the night and even after the alleged attack.
Throughout this trial, Yeardley has sat expressionless, almost stoic at the defense table. All of that changed today. As this police interview was airing, Yeardley began crying, was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Yeardley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse player Michael Burns, who testified that one time while visiting UVA, he heard some yelling for help from Yeardley's apartment. When he opened the door, he said he found Yeardley with his arm wrapped around Love's neck, choking her. Yeardley then let her go, and she ran out of the room crying.
A variety of medical experts took the stand this Wednesday, and they all seem to agree that Love's
Jesus
death was
Christ,
the result
hello?
of blunt force trauma to the head. This was followed by highly distressing witness testimony from Yeardley's neighbors.
The noise was so loud, this was such a violent death that they heard it downstairs, 2 separate witnesses, and it sounded like a...
Why, I don't want to be a fucking good Samaritan Andy, but dude, did never you think that fucking, I don't know, like maybe reached out or report? That's like, hello?
stereo crashing to the ground.
And it certainly didn't help that the jury knew that she was alive for 2 hours before she died, indicating that if George Yeardley had come to his senses, he could have gone back there, called 911, and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George Yeardley never intended to kill. They say this was all a tragic accident, that he does not deserve a life sentence, but instead a lesser charge and a second chance.
Guilty of second-degree murder, and you will hear the sentence momentarily.
A 26-year prison term came down.
George Yeardley was brought to court to hear his lawyers plead for the judge to cut in half the 26-year sentence recommended by the jury. Judge Edward Hogshire did trim it back, but by just 3 years.
The jury in this case recommended 26 years. The judge changed it to 23, probably a small difference, but why would he do that?
It's surprising, isn't it, considering this is a woman who was beaten to death in her own bed.
We think that George was convicted of a crime inconsistent with the facts, and he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Yeardley has already served in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
Dude. Fucking
consistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for
that's lame as fuck though. I might give it a buck though. I think it's lame as fuck that that somebody in their position, lawyers in their position, right? Which they've probably seen victims throughout the entire career, and they know what it's like to get closure and whatnot, and for them to lose, right? For them to lose and then go in front of the news and say, "Oh, doesn't fit the crime," blah 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 blah. That's so fucking stupid.
George was convicted of a crime.
It means their job, bro. They lost. Bro, they lost. It's over. You act like the press here, like they get like a bonus minus 2 years plus 3 rep plus 4 gangster or some shit after that. Like there's like a bonus $3,000. Like, bro, there's no bonus. The trial's over. It's done.
Inconsistent with the facts.
Are you dumb?
And he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Hughley has already served in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
As for George, he was incarcerated at the maximum security Augusta
They keep their options open for a retrial.
Correctional Center for 10 years, and has since been transferred to a prison work camp in Richmond, where he's expected to serve out the rest of his sentence. The present consensus in the media is that George had no intention of killing Yeardley, but that his 23-year sentence is still appropriate, if not lenient, and that him being drunk to any degree at the time of the murder is not an excuse, nor does it lessen the culpability of his actions to any extent. He'll be released at the age of 45, meaning he will have the second chance at life Yeardley was never afforded. You can decide for yourself whether he deserves it or not.
Yeah,
a comforting prospect to this tragedy.
Brother, I don't even give a fuck, okay? Listen. I know my opinion's worth nothing in this, okay? But listen. The way I see shit like this is a simple concept. Don't ever commit physical violence, regardless. Okay? Unless it's in like desperate fucking measures of self-defense, last resort type shit, right? It is so fucking stupid. Right? Oh, but dude, I didn't mean to kill. Bro, you never know what can happen when you do physical violence. You can never know. Somebody hits their fucking neck on the side of something. Somebody hits their head somewhere.
Hi,
somebody cracks their skull. Somebody's bone snaps in their fucking head. Somebody's brain fucking goes sideways. Bro, you never know what can happen. Just don't fucking do it, man. That's why I have no sympathy for people who say, "Oh my god, dude, I did physical violence and they died. I should get a lesser sentence, dude, because I didn't mean to kill." Bro, shut the fuck up, man. Especially when you're against somebody who's way smaller in size.
What is up with the dog shit luck and seeds to...
When you do a big act of physical violence, bro, you're exploring these options at that point. That's just it. End of story. Dead. Holy fuck. So fucking annoying. Intent matters. Well, I mean, in this scenario, then the intent is to do physical violence, right, to somebody's cranium, which is that's your life right here. So, I mean, I have no sympathies. Yo, this is X on the beat, yo. Okay. You heard my voice as well. Deadass. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy.